This here airplane is a Quest Kodiak, and if you're a student of management, like working on your MBA and interested in aviation, you might want to write your thesis on the Quest company because this has been an extremely successful design. It's a brand new design. I think it's only been certified about a year, and it's a huge success story. A very small team, I think on the order of like 30 people, got together to design this airplane from a clean sheet of paper. Their objective was that they had been missionaries, and they wanted a really rugged bush plane for missionaries around the world to use to travel to remote parts of Africa and South America. Well, they actually designed, built, and certified this airplane on basically on the schedule they announced, which is almost unheard of. Even poor old Boeing, can't get the 787 out the door in the time they'd said they would. But the Quest people managed to put this Kodiak together and get it out the door pretty much on schedule. They pretty much met their price targets, and it's supposedly just a wonderful bush plane and utility airplane, very competitive with the similar Cessna Caravan, but even more rugged. I'm sure there's lots of military looking at this, and police agencies could use it. So it's got a lot of capability beyond what the missionaries, and because they made it extremely rugged, I'm sure the operating costs, by the standards of aviation, are low. So whoever runs the Quest company, they just have their act together. There's been so many disasters trying to get airplanes designed and certified over the last few years. It's really, really nice to see a company actually pull it off. That's amazing. So congratulations, Quest. And there's a bunch of guys in Idaho. Oh, check it out, check it out, check it out. Looks like the arrival of the RV Air Force. You can see that. Those are homemade airplanes. Just another typical day at Oshkosh. I learned to fly in a Piper Cub. The one I flew in was an original Piper Cub. I did this in the late 60s, early 70s when I was learning to fly. Made in 1939. This is a brand new 2009 model Piper Cub, but it's not made by Piper. It's made by the Legend Company, which is in Big Springs, Texas, I believe. It's a clone of the original Cub with some modern conveniences like electricity instead of having to hand prop it. But it's basically pretty similar to the Cub, almost exactly. I haven't flown one, but I'd like to. The landing light, we didn't have that. The wingtip landing lights on the Cub or anything like that I flew, but Williams Piper would probably like that. And it's the same basic design for sure. Hopefully they kept the same really sweet flying characteristics. So that's a 2009 Legend Cub clone of the famous Piper Cub. We're standing in Airshell Square the day before the official start of EAA Airventure in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. It's pretty empty now, but tomorrow this ramp will hold both White Knight 2, the gigantic Burt Rutan designed, Richard Branson financed spaceship carrier designed to carry Spaceship 2 up to 50,000 feet and drop it where Spaceship 2 will take paying customers up to 300,000 plus feet so they can float in space, similar to the X-15 of the 60s. They'll also be here. The world's largest airplane, an A380 from Airbus, is going to fly out here, and they're going to park it here. And I read an article, they've done a lot of choreography to make sure they don't fit, and it's not going to have a lot of clearance, but they're going to get it in here. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that A380. We do have a Ford Tri-Motor here. That gives rides all during the show. You can buy a ticket on that. And then we have 3 of the hundreds of World War II fighters that show up for EAA Oshkosh. We have a Hawker Hurricane, really the workhorse of the Battle of Britain. Have a Corsair, one of the best fighters of World War II. This is in Royal Navy colors. So this is like the British Air Force here. And here's a Spitfire, the famous airplane of the Battle of Britain. when you were a German pilot, you always said you were shot down by a Spitfire, because even though the Hurricanes shot down probably as many or more Germans as did the Spitfires, it wasn't quite as glamorous, because as you can see, it's a slightly older design and a little funky looking compared to the absolutely beautiful Spitfire, but they both got the job done because we won and they lost. So this is Aeroshell Square. This will be filled with the most interesting airplanes in the world starting tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that these two tugs were trucked in from airports on the East Coast for the specific purpose of towing the Airbus into Aeroshell Square. Because being the biggest airplane in the world, it needs the biggest tug in the world. It kind of surprised me when I read this on the EAA site, because the EAA has had very many large airplanes in here before, including C-5s come many often, but apparently you can't just get by with the second biggest tug in the world. If you're operating an A380, you need the biggest tug in the world. And there it sits. Oh, check out where the steering wheel is. Anyway, that's the biggest, I believe that to be the biggest airplane tug in the world, appropriate to tow the biggest airplane in the world.